Catherine Streletsky, and I'm an outreach facilitator for the Monroe Institute. And what this has to do with the Red Book is we actually help people go into states of consciousness that are very much like waking dreams and visions. So when I went to the Rubin Museum in New York last week, I got some profound revelations from a series that I'm going to share with you right now. And this is a particular series of images that Carl Jung did not explain in the Red Book. So there's no footnotes to go to on these. Well, there's a few. But what I'm sharing with you now is from my own personal knowledge of seeing these images side by side, along with some sketches that were from the Black Book that we can find in the epilogue. So here we go. So the very first image I'd like to share is on page 82, and what we see is an 8-sided flower. Reminded me a lot of what you see in the Flower of Life. And now this flower would seem to be unrelated to the picture we see on page 83, except maybe by coincidence. There seems to be 8 of these little squiggles in there, and they do have these little round, I don't know what they are, let's think of them as pollen, and they do seem to have some pollen coming out from the various sides. But where I really got some revelation was from something that you can find in the epilogue of this book, which is a sketch. And this is the sketch from the original Black Books of that 8-sided flower. And then there was a sketch that is not shown except in the epilogue, and that is it's missing one of the 8 sides, and those little things of pollen seem to be erupting up through the top. And when I noticed the sketches next to the picture, I said, oh, how interesting. Here we are in the primordial unity, and then what we miss is the little volcano that happens when this unity splits. One of those 8 come off, and in the sketch you had all those little volcanoes coming out, which you now see over here. And Jung is you'll see he loves the cross, whether it's canted or whether it's straight up and down. He'll talk about it being the 4 dimensions of depth, height, breadth, and time. So you'll see 4 repeated over and over. So, oh yes, so now we've gone from the 1 into manifest reality. But the 8 dimensions are still contained within the 1. And I've come to believe that Jung saw 8 as being the divine or the unmanifest reality in conjunction with the manifest reality. And of course, man is what connects the divine with the manifest reality. So, also down here, you start seeing the start of what I'm going to call the shadow. And we'll see that grow a little bit later on. So when that 1 broke off, it also created a shadow reality. Now, page 84. We still have the 8 contained within the flower here. The flower still has the 4 dimensions of the manifest reality containing the 8 within it. The shadow is growing, and guess what's happening? As the shadow grows, you get this 8-sided star up top. Now, what really blew my mind was that when you go back to the sketches, he's got this in sketch. The stars, you're going to see a bunch of 8-sided stars. The stars are all 6-sided stars in the sketches. So at some point between the Black Book, when he was actually, that's an 8-sided star. That's an 8-sided star. Go back. Ha! Okay, well they had additional sketches. They just have a few sketches in this book. But at the exhibit, they had the same exact picture as I'm looking at in sketch form from the Black Books, and it had a 6-sided star. And so I said, he went from the 6-sided star to the 8-sided star deliberately. And I've already shared what I think the 8-sided star is about. And those of you who are Freemasons or just into symbolism probably know a lot about the six-sided star already. So here we go. And I'm not quite sure what the fish is in the sky, but the star, we now have a fish. And we've got a whole mountain underneath, which the little stuff that, well, it's like almost like a volcano feeding into the manifest reality. Anyhow, it's changing. It's changing. There definitely is some changes. There's the molten lava. It was just in the unconscious. Maybe that's the stuff from the unconscious starting to percolate into manifest reality. Because now we're starting to see the shadow stuff becoming more regular and definable patterns. And the star is becoming, it's becoming adorned with some snake-like type objects. He likes snakes a lot too. And the 8 has now moved into 4, but it's 4 plus 4. So we still have the 8 pattern, the 4 pattern, and again the 4 pattern and the 8 pattern here again. But now we're getting almost like an inverse. See, the star is above now, above the little snake-like objects instead of below them. And we've got the little snake-like objects, which also kind of look kind of Aquarian, kind of watery, encompassing the manifest reality symbols. And the shadow is actually becoming an structure of architecture now. Yeah? And now we're really getting some real beauty coming out in the mandalas. The shadow world is almost seeming to have some religious iconography. The star is still above. And the manifest reality is reaching towards the star. But what of the underworld? We shall see. Okay, still reaching for the star. And now some debris seems to be falling from the manifest reality into the underworld, or what I'm calling the underworld. And the underworld seems to be coming into the manifest reality with some glyphs. Don't know quite what they mean or what they say, but we've got some structural underpinning for the manifest reality and what started out as the shadow world. And up to page 90, some more representations of the same. Again, at the Rubin, you saw many of these pictures. They all had 6-sided stars. These all had 8-sided stars. And there's increasingly more symbolism of connection, of manifest reality reaching both upwards and downwards in symmetry. That these are both part of the whole. And then there was some stuff in some of the footnotes. I haven't delved into the footnotes. I've been choosing to just go with what the pictures are telling me. But Jung did talk about using the snake to reach into the underworld. That there would be a sun in the underworld that would be paralleling the sun in the upper world. And I think you're kind of seeing a graphic representation of that here. Ha! Someone must have gone into the underworld and the upper world, because now manifest reality is absolutely integrated with the star. Remember, the star used to be above it? It's now absolutely integrated in with what used to be a 4-sided symbol. Nice, huh? Now we're going to get into some pictures that kind of, remind me of Navajo sand paintings. But again, same type of iconography. You've got the sun above, the sun below. You've got the 8-sided star now fully integrated into a very prominent red canted cross for the manifest reality, and sending up an arch, with a keystone in the arch, very Masonic symbolism there, I guess, and almost like a very beautiful watery sea, which we also see this watery sea in a picture of the Divine Child and some of his other drawings. He uses that a lot. Psychedelic rather looking, don't you think? So now what I was calling the watery sea, it now seems to be embedded into, looks to me like an Eye of Horus. Not the one we're used to looking at, but this is what this picture definitely jumped off the page at. You've got all these little hieroglyphs. You've got the star now firmly just entrenched right in the center of everything in Manifest Reality. But Manifest Reality seems to be contained within a bigger, all-seeing reality. And hey, we've got the snake going through it, dividing the upper to the lower. But they're all integrated. But this now is changing too, because there is a bigger reality even once you get integrated, see? And those glyphs now move up, and also you've got the scarab and the lower sun going down, and what looked to be the sea now looks to me almost like tree limbs growing out of the Manifest Reality. So you've got the little snake plus tree limbs, got all sorts of things going on. We're going out in another four-dimensional mode. And we have the sun above and the sun below, connected up by our snake-like or water-like appendages, and going out to either side in tree-like appendages. And now this whole thing's going to fold back on itself into a great big cosmic egg, which to me is going back to the primordial unity, but indicating also, because you got four things going outside of the unity, that this unity is just a part of a bigger picture altogether. And tying this back in with Bob Monroe, he used to say, I'm not going for eternity, I'm going for infinity. And talked about needing to integrate all the different aspects of ourselves as they've manifested throughout space-time. And when we're able to do that with all of our soul companions, we can then move to the next level, and it ever expands outward. Thanks.